All right, guys, yay! Ruby, Senior Ruby. This is the gem call. You guys are literally about to be gems, or already are gems, in Plexus. And this is a huge, huge stage within your, yay, everybody's hopping on. Okay. Again, I'm sorry about the last call running over a little bit, but this is going to be a huge stage in your Plexus business. And this is really where leadership starts to take off and all sorts of things start happening. And we're going to get into that a little bit as far as the strategy and having some really good activities for your business. But the goal of these calls is to help you guys connect with other people that are in your same similar business place so that you guys can lock arms, share ideas, help each other, and kind of build that synergy. When you're all rowing together in the same direction, big things happen, but then you can also move mountains and get creative when you encounter roadblocks, within your business. And so we wanted to kind of put this together. It was totally Amy's idea as far as doing the rank breakouts and helping everybody, just kind of get those partnerships, because sideline relationships, as you guys know, are huge in this business, and opening your eyes to different ways and ideas of doing things that's working and making it your own is huge. So I'm going to screen share. Whoops. Okay. Maybe. Hold on. Okay. So obviously, I think at this point you guys know exactly the parameters for Ruby, Senior Ruby, but if you don't, 500 points. Outside leg points come into play here. Again, 100 outside leg points. 4 of them have to be active and personally sponsored. Senior Ruby, 750, 150 outside leg points, and 5 personally sponsored. So from a strategy perspective within this specific rank, this is where I've seen a lot of people end up getting a little bit stuck because it's a transition period. I got stuck here. It's probably the most common rank once you've started going up through the ranks to get stuck is Ruby or Senior Ruby. And it doesn't really have anything to do with the amount of points that you have to grow or anything like that. What it has to do is that transition from being kind of more of a individual contributor to need the absolute necessity of becoming a leader and raising your leadership lid and not slipping into managerial mode within your team. It can be really, really easy to slip into management mode. And what I mean by that is, so I'm Ruby, I just stepped into Ruby, and I'm expecting now my team is going to do it for me, right? Like I just have to help them. I just have to help them move forward, sign people, all these kinds of things. We're just going to go on to the next rank, and I take myself out of that active business building mode. And because I have a large team now, I'm just spending all of my time on the, the details of running a team, customer service issues, team page running, trainings, those types of things. All of those things are important, but what I always like to say is you have to do what you say and say what you do. So you have to model it, and you have to also simultaneously work on raising your leadership lid at the same time. And so that was a huge lesson I actually learned when I hit Ruby. I had been running guns blazing. We were in momentum. I was a huge recruiter when I first started Plexus. And so I don't know what happened in my brain when I got to Ruby, but I was like, well, now's the time that everybody's just going to start, doing it for me. And, I just spent all this time doing all the things I was just saying, and I didn't know what leadership was. And so it took pouring myself into learning the art of leadership and reading some John Maxwell books, having those light bulb moments, and then started raising up leaders and helping them understand what leadership was too, duplicating that aspect down, vision casting, leading through inspiration, modeling a huge pace, obviously doing IPA. And this is also the point in time where you start to see less people in your network jumping on board all of the time, right? And so this can be the part where you're like, okay, I've got to help, you know, in duplication and those types of things. But it's growing your network at that place as well, and just being very, very intentional with your time and intentional with setting out the things that you need to do to make sure that you are growing personally and developing personally within this whole journey as well, and taking joy in that fact. And being very, very bold with new ambassadors. And we're going to show you guys through here just how easy it is to do that. Some super, super easy duplication points and all of that, but just understanding that the pace of the leader is going to become the pace of the team specifically at this point as well. So Amy, did you have anything that you wanted to add to that?
Yeah, just, you know, quickly, this is when you're going to get a little uncomfortable. I can remember really struggling, like she said, between growing my business, that was my personal business. It was taking, I felt like, all of my time, but then also supporting my team, which I also felt like took all of my time. So it is easy to slip into that management mode, but this is where you may have to do scary things. You may have to start hosting a team call for your team, right? Or you may have to put into place a little bit more prescriptive strategies, or you may have to start doing the things that you want your team to do. So as we talk about a lot of these activities, sometimes when it's either going for Ruby or going for senior Ruby, you're going to have to get even a little bit more uncomfortable to grow that leadership.
Yep. And starting to understand kind of what duplication exactly is and how you want to see your team duplicate. What you know, what things do you want to have in place for onboarding and getting people to silver within their first 30 days? What does that look like for you personally? Taking ownership over all of that, because if what we're doing on Team Taylor or Team Grub, Team Welch, like wherever, right? If that's not working for you in particular, figuring out how you're going to duplicate with your team as well, and kind of taking ownership of that and making sure that you have all of that in place as well. So I wanted to talk about this as well. It's super, super important who we focus on and where we focus our time. So sitting down and figuring out, okay, from your own personal business perspective, who are your top 10 prospects? I always like to take my calendar and fill it in at the top of each week and figure out who are the 5 people that I'm focusing on for that week. If I don't have anybody in my funnel at that point, that's a huge indicator that it is time for me to start building my network and prospecting and figuring out who those next people are going to be, amping up my posting game, doing some more interactive posts, that kind of thing, okay? But figuring out, okay, top 10 prospects. I was a marketing major in college, and it was drilled into our head that if you're marketing to everybody, you're marketing to nobody. And so you need to have that, like, that meme of who is the ideal person that you're bringing into your team. More than likely, it's going to be somebody a lot like you in similar stage of life, because we kind of attract who, you know, we are, but maybe a little bit better version of yourself, right? So think about that, and in terms of what you're posting, what you're saying, what you're doing, the types of information, even looking at who's online when you're hopping online, and if it's one of those 10 people, maybe making a post that you know would grab their specific attention, or sending them a message and checking in, seeing, you know, how they're doing, building their relationship, or sending them a message about Plexus, right? Being intentional with your actions and matching them up with the people that you're trying to attract is a really, really big deal. Then as far as, you know, growing your team and your business and that duplication we talked about, who are the 5 to 3? What I mean by that, who are the 5 people this week that you're going to help add 3 each? Looking through your team, this doesn't necessarily have to be level 1s. Obviously, you want to help your level 1s first, but this is taprooting as well. So who on your team can you help add 3 this week? Who can you help not necessarily rank, but who can you help get the incentives that are going on, or just simply add 3 and hit their goals as far as their personal sponsoring for this month? Who is aiming for Leaders Retreat? Who are you going to help, you know, do all of those types of things? And then the next 5 is your 5 to rank. Who are you actively helping to rank, and where is your time being spent? I love having all of this kind of mapped out, and we're going to talk about that a little bit too. If you guys haven't done that, it's super, super critical just because it directs so much of your activity. So over to the right-hand side, we're talking a little bit about, the mapping out of it. Where are your points coming from? How many of these points that you're going to need to hit for Ruby or Senior Ruby are coming from new people? Like how many new people does your team need to add? And then where within your team, because you're probably not going to add 50 people if that's, how many people you need to add, right? So who on your team is running with you towards these goals? Who are your 5 to 3? Who are your 5 to rank? Having those people within your idea, your visibility and your plan is really key, because you can help them hit your goals, which helps you hit your goals. Making this and focusing on your people within your team and helping them hit their goals and understanding what those are is going to take you so much further than focusing on the 500 or the 750 points. It's a really huge key within this business. And then also, having a list of people that you're going to kind of look at to bring back into Plexus, and how many you're personally going to sponsor as well within that, name your 10. Amy, did you want to take it over?
Yep, so let me talk about some specific activities. But first, guys, real quick, I want to make sure when you're going for Ruby and Senior Ruby, so let's just all be real here. You may have been able to get to Gold, Senior Gold. You don't have any business stuff in place. You don't check your reports every day. You don't even know where certain stuff is in the back office. You are not going to get to Ruby, Senior Ruby if you are not in your reports, if you're looking at the names, if you're looking at the people, because now when you're going for Ruby, Senior Ruby, there's going to be people you don't know. It's a big transition rank, right? Up from Gold, Senior Gold, you may have a good idea. You may know everyone by first name. You may see a name and you may recognize it, right? You're not going to know that when you're going for Ruby, Senior Ruby. So you have to be in those reports. You have to be looking at your perks. And if you see a name that you don't recognize, but obviously they're on your report, go find out who are they under, right? If you're looking at subscriptions or anything, just really get familiar with that virtual office, because they are now your whole team. Right? Before it may have been like, well, yeah, I have my level 1s, and then so-and-so silver, she's got a couple people, so-and-so else has a couple different people, but all of a sudden, they're now all yours, right? And yeah, so Nicole says she's freaked out by so many people. I remember being freaked out too, because all of a sudden, I didn't know everybody, right? And that is just what I talked about, right? You're going to have to do stuff that's a little scary, freaks you out a little bit. That's going to be it. That's the cool thing though. It means your team is growing. When there are names you don't recognize, yeah, it's exciting and scary all at the same time, but they are all your team. And as you grow and you're going for the Ruby, Senior Ruby rank, there are going to be people on your team that are under someone who isn't active or isn't a good support for them. It's up to you to be that support. So that's where what we call tap rooting, or just reaching down into those lower levels and being okay with it and really not waiting for permission, right? Because you never know who your next jewel is going to be. You never know who needs this business. You never know who really needs these products if they're under someone who may not be a support to them. So your reports are going to be your biggest friend and make it so much easier to use than just, trying to keep everyone in your mind. Because before, with Gold and Senior Gold, you may have been okay just doing it all in your head and a notebook. You're really going to have to rely on your reports. And I also want to say, I love what Heather said. Like, she wants to start doing some calls for her newbies. That's awesome. I love it. Those are the things we talk about, like being a leader, but also please still lean on your jewel uplines, right? If you're on my team and I am doing weekly team calls, that might be all you need. Maybe your focus is to get all your people on our team call. But if you really want to do your own team call, or you really love hosting Zooms and you feel like your team needs that, then do it. But don't feel like all of a sudden you're on your own. and you have to do all the things by yourself, right? Which is that weird Ruby, senior Ruby balance. But I really want you to lean into the part of leadership that fills your cup. So if it's doing new calls, if it's doing Zooms, if it's starting a chat thread, yeah, Nicole loves hosting events. She is a rock star at them. So that's really what she has focused on. And then everything else, she's leaned on her jewel pages. So specific activities though, guys, and when we talk about these, they're for you, but they're also for your team. So as we get into some of these later slides, Sarah and I will kind of delineate between your business and your team business. But let me tell you where I kind of got hung up around Senior Ruby, kind of even Emerald. I had all the great systems. Like, okay, guys, look, we're going to do this. Look, it's a checklist for all your new ambassadors. Here you go. Just do these things. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, well, my team didn't do it. Why not? Well, because I wasn't doing it myself. I was so busy trying to get them to do it. I wasn't doing it for my new level ones. And then showing them screenshots, right? Like, hey guys, look, I'm doing this. Or if you do it with your brand new level ones, that's all they will know. So then when they add someone, they will do the same thing. Oftentimes we think duplication is coming up with this perfect system and graphic and making sure everyone has the graphic. Oftentimes it just means we do it with our brand new level ones, and that's the standard at which they run their business, right? So specific activities. We really want to get everyone using that Engage app, guys. It's just going to be more and more robust as time goes on, but we need everyone using it now to get into the habit, and so they're not completely overwhelmed downloading it later once it's completely full of all the things. If only now to use it for the 10% off link. That's a huge, huge perk. But it's also going to help people keep track of their people when they merge it with their social media, okay? We really want to be doing that refer 3 exercise, and that app meshes really well with that. You can tell someone, hey, download the app so you can get your samples, and then, why don't you make a post so we can get, your friends using your samples or the referral link. So really do that. And when it's Ruby, Senior Ruby, and really we should all be doing this from day one, but we don't, but really with Ruby, Senior Ruby, you want to be very prescriptive and always talk and offer the business, right? Do not wait for people to tell you that they want to share on Facebook or they may be interested in silver, right? You really want to make sure your whole team knows everything that is available. Obviously, you want to keep posting, but with Ruby, Senior Ruby, you know how you actually now have more things to post about. You might be a little bit more connected to team chats and team threads. You might have a little bit more sidelines. You have more people on your team with success stories coming up. You have more things you can post about. So do not get into a rut. And remember, you can post about team success. You can post team testimonies. If someone joins you and says, oh my goodness, I didn't need a Diet Coke today, put that in your stories. Put that as a post, okay? So make sure you're doing that. And then really, let's not forget the resource that is the Wellness Lounge. This is something to make it really easy for our brand new ambassadors too. Add them to the lounge, encourage them to add a buddy, tag them in a testimony, and send a message, and just be really prescriptive. And then of course, you guys know, right? We have launch parties, trainings, events. There's so many things. Grab an accountability partner. If I were on this call and this was like a jewel call going for my next rank, I would be writing down the names of everyone in the chat, and I would be like, okay guys, we're going to get in a thread together. And then I'd set some ground rules. If there's any negative Nellies, you're not allowed in our chat, right? Because this is like a solution-oriented, fun, positive place. And then I would run, and I would do my goal mapping together. I would do my activities for my team. I would let's bounce ideas off each other. But then what you guys want to do, this is the big piece of advice I can give you for Ruby, Senior Ruby, because you don't want to get overwhelmed. You don't want your team to get overwhelmed, right? So I would, what's your focus for the month? Okay. Did you recruit 15 people last month? And guess what? Your focus this month is getting those people to silver. Okay. Or maybe, you recruited just a couple, then and you haven't recruited any new people for a while, then your focus this month is to add 3 new people, right? You're right. Energy flows where the focus goes. I saw your post this morning. So I really want that way, and maybe your focus this month for your team is just to get them all on the team calls and you be there with them. Or maybe your focus is to host an event for them, right? Do not try to do all of the things all of the time, or you're going to burn out and your team is going to not know what to do. So make your focus for your team and your personal business every month, because overwhelm, it's real. Yeah, it is. It's very, very real. And I feel like a lot of people stall at Ruby Senior Ruby because they don't know how to manage it, right? Or they feel like there's too many things and they shut down. And we all fall into it, right? Just don't shut down. And if you had this kind of sideline chat and you're like, all right, guys, feeling overwhelmed, I'm going to be honest, like I'm starting to get burnt out, they can help lift you up and bring you back. Okay. So what is the next slide? I think it's stairs. There we go. And so Sarah, or we'll get back to Heather's question. She says she offers the business every time, but every time they say no, she's not selling anything. So we'll talk about different ways to bring that up, or have somebody else bring it up to them. Three-way chats. Three-way chats are huge. This, though, guys, is goal mapping. I like to have pencil and paper. I have my goal notebook. I will show you guys, if you want, my Ruby and my Senior Ruby page when I was going for those, what I wrote down. But now it seems like everything is so virtual. I need to close my screen sometimes and work with paper. It just makes me feel good. So I love this Senior Gold to Ruby or Ruby to Senior Ruby goal mapping. It just gives you a good visual of what you need to do. And you guys know that when you see people's names, the universe like brings them into your circle. Or you can, if you pray, you can pray circles around them, but just seeing their names. So you can do it like this, or you can do what a lot of us have been doing. A lot of you guys already have it. Those Post-it note goal boards, right? Where you see the people's names on your team, just something to keep track. So this is something, we have all of these that you guys will see. They're all in the unit section, both on all of our big team pages. And, a lot of times too, people talk about at Ruby Senior Ruby, they're like, oh man, should I have my own team page? Should I have my own team page? I recommend to people not to. Like, you may want to, that's awesome. But I feel like you are in this stage in your business where you have so much that you have to manage anyway, and you're trying to find that balance between your business and your team. You don't want to throw running a team page on top of it. So just really lean into like your Jewel Uplines team page. So that's my personal. Some people don't agree, but I just feel like, why add that onto it, right? Wait until maybe you get you're a Jewel and you have some runners and you guys can all do your page together. So
I agree as well. And I think that what the best thing to start doing in that situation is to take a more leadership role on your Jewel team page. There's a huge movement within Plexus actually combining all pages to your nearest diamond, and having all of the Ruby, Senior Ruby and Jewel and above, just run it as a collaborative environment. So a lot of teams have been doing that. So there's definitely a lot to be said for collaboration, community, all of those types of things. But as far as, so I think this is one of the things that's going to help Heather as far as, helping people kind of remove the stigma of starting to build a business, remove the stigma of trying getting started, because there's a lot of fear that happens. There's trepidation in putting yourself out there, as I just joined a network marketing company, and then, because I had that, here I am today, but when I started, I was not wanting that sort of social, whatever, I had a lot of big feelings about network marketing that weren't correct, but I was nervous to put myself out there with it. This helps them put it in terms that they understand. So for most of you guys have seen this, but this is duplicatable. So we're talking about, what is duplication? How do you make your team, how do you help your team duplicate? How do you help your team do things? Basically what duplication is just copying things that you do. So you want to make sure that everything that you are doing that is working for you is something that they can easily see and then duplicate, change up, and do for themselves. Personalize it, right? But something that they can grab, take, and execute on. And so whether that is the onboarding process, whether it's, starting sharing, duplicating silvers, recognition, all of those types of things needs to be something that they can duplicate and just pass on down. So what this process is, and it is working so well, is over to the left-hand side, it talks about exactly what our referral opportunity is. And this works for every month going forward, because this is all about Fast Start Silver. This month in particular, because of the incentives we have going on, this also works for normal ambassadors, wholesalers, those types of things. So think about it from that perspective. But refer 3, get 300. What I like to talk to people about is, here in this first step with a little clock, in their first 24 hours, because we know when they are so excited when they're first signing up, that is like the magical window of helping them do these things, right? Helping them because they're excited, they're wanting to get going, they haven't lost interest, they're waiting for their products to arrive, all the excitement's happening, they've just made the decision. So after sign up, and in this case, I would do this with all of your June and July ambassadors, get on the phone with your people and tell them, say, hey Amy, I would really like to get on the phone with you today. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go walk through with you your virtual office, talk about the products that you just purchased and how to get started on them. Make sure you know how to manage your subscription, know where it is, know how to shop in the future. I'm going to just show you all the ins and outs back there so you're not confused. I'm going to show you how you get, all of those types of things. And then towards the end of walking them through, whether it's on Zoom or whether it's over the phone, you're going to take them to the place in their back office where it's the My Account and the My Site, and say, hey, this is, I don't know if you realize this, but this is the referral link that Plexus gives you. It works just like Stitch Fix, HelloFresh, all those types of things. When you first sign up for one of those things, when I did my DNA testing, at the end of it, when I checked out on Everlywell, it said, hey, if you refer a friend, you get a $25 gift card to Amazon. I was like, oh, heck yes, I'm going to make a post that I just started, ordered my Everlywell kit, and I ended up getting a ton of referrals from Amazon. Explain it in terms like that, because people are very, very familiar with that. And then say, girl, but this one's crazy lucrative. If you just share your referral link and 3 people want to try it with you because they're like, heck yeah, I want to lose weight, get healthy, whatever, I'll try it with you. You're going to get $300 cash. That's far more lucrative than any of those referral links that had come out, And so here's what we're going to do. And this is literally what you say to them. Here's what we're going to do. Tell me 5 people that you think that you could share this link with that would want to get started with Plexus with you and just try the products alongside you. 60 money back guarantee. Who would those be? And then write those names down as you're sitting there talking to them, or they write those names down, or both, right? And then here's where the duplication is crazy easy, you guys. Here's the post, the message that you give to them. And you just fill it in for them. Say, hey, I'm going to send you a message that you can send to them. And you write it out. You type it to them, send it over to them while you guys are on the phone or after you get off the phone. Say, hey, these are the, those 5 names here, send that to them. And you just do it so they can copy and paste each one. Then if any of those people say yes, and they want to try it with you, no worries, girl. I'm going to walk you through. I'm going to get into a 3-way chat, and I'm going to talk to them about the products that they should get started on for themselves. And then we'll go from there. It's not going to be salesy, not going to be talking about you selling Plexus or anything like that. This is literally me helping them get started on the products that are suitable for them. And I am doing everything for you. And then at the end of it, while you're still on the phone, you say, hey, if I send you a post that you can make to help ensure that you get those 3 referrals, will you post it right now to Facebook along with just a selfie or something like that? And then you send them this post, you fill it in for them and send it over to them. People are doing this. It is they understand it. It removes the concern about selling. It removes the hesitations that people have about it, and they're executing on it because it's duplicatable. And then when they start signing their people, you guys can duplicate this exact same thing. And they've already been aware of this because of you. And the best thing I love about this is I'm encouraging all my people to download that Engage app, because I'm sending them, I just signed somebody last night, and I am sending them the 10% off code. And I told her, I was like, hey, I'm going to go make this specific link for you, Tiffany, and I'm going to send it to you right now. It's going to give you 10% off. So you have to click this link, and it does expire. So make sure you click it right away. And she did. 9 minutes later, I had a new ambassador. Okay. So she's already aware of this app because I told it to her. I told her about it while I was signing her up and said, it's a really cool app and it creates these links for me and you get money off. So that's how we duplicate the app use as well. And then that helps them have something to pass along to their new ambassadors too. Here is the new ambassador, or sorry, the Refer 3 Ambassador Toolkit. I'm not going to go over it. Basically, this is exactly what you do as the business building ambassador. So this is your scripts, your things that you say. Definitely use these. The original one is posted, the previous screen is posted in Team Taylor, and has in the comments all of the scripts and everything like that to send to everybody. Okay, so Amy, you want to take this right away?
Real quick, can you just go back to that slide just really quickly? So I want people to see the difference between being prescriptive and waiting on them, right? So Heather had mentioned sometimes she says like, hey, if you have 3 friends join you, you'll make $300, right? The difference though is they're like, yeah, no, I don't want anyone to join me. Like joining sounds yucky. But if you say, hey, I want to show you how to use your referral link, click on your account. Here's your link. It's fabulous. It works just like HelloFresh. If you share that link, you are going to make some money. And instead of asking if they want to share it, say, who are some 3 people we can get that link to, right? Like it's just a tweak in the language. Now, it doesn't mean everyone's going to jump on board and be like, oh yeah, I can't wait. But just that little bit of a tweak can make all of the difference. Okay, next slide. This is mine here, the daily point tracker. And so I know those slides have a lot of examples of things to say, but if you copy those and just look at them, it is really just a little bit of a tweak in what we're already saying. So Road to Ruby, Road to Senior Ruby. I love these charts and I hate these charts, and I'll tell you why. I am a numbers person. I love numbers. I'm motivated by numbers. When I see my goal of earning 800 credits for Leaders Retreat, then I break that down and know what I have to do to get there. Same with my rank goal, right? However, do not let these demotivate you, because we know that these businesses are not even. We do not get the same number of points every single day in the month. We do not get the same number of recruits and new ambassadors every single day of the month. So if you look at this and you're like, oh man, it's July 20th. I'm not at 357 for Ruby, or I'm nowhere close to 536 for Senior Ruby, and that deflates you, then throw these charts away and don't look at them, okay? Because it fluctuates, it's organic. You guys know we can add 30 new people to our team in one day. We can jump by 100 points in one day. So use this as kind of a guideline to be like, well, okay, I'm on track. I need to kick my activity up a little bit, or we're rocking and rolling, we're good. But don't let these points per day motivate you, right? There are some jewels that track their points every single day. They can tell you every single day on the 5th of the month for 2020 where their points were. Other people, you may want to do it weekly, right? But the thing is, when you're going for Ruby, Senior Ruby, you need to know where you're at, right? You cannot be afraid to look in your back office. We've been there. I've been there where I'm like, ugh, I don't want to look, like, ugh. You can't be afraid, right? You got to be in there. You got to look. You got to see where you're at and use it as that kind of motivation to get your business into gear for these ranks. Okay, what's the next slide here? I think it's the tracker. Okay, so if you do want to track it, we have these points per day impact chart, right? And you can use this even just to record where you're at, or use it as a weekly point goal where you want to be at the end of every week. I really love it. And of course it has also on here like your monthly goal for recruiting, your team rank up goal, because if you want to get Ruby, senior Ruby, if you can pour into still recruiting yourself and always aiming to add 3 new ambassadors every month, but also getting people to silver, even getting people to share with just one person and get a buddy, that's really going to make the difference. Okay. And again, these are in units too. Now, I can go ahead and talk about this, Sarah. We're not saying that you guys have to have accountability partners. We're not going to do these types of sheets as a team, but sometimes it's nice to have a buddy. If you're in the group, right? If you guys, I think all you guys are like, yes, I want in the Ruby Senior Ruby group. If you find that you just really click with someone really, really, really well, and you guys run a run together, this weekly accountability call sheet is really good. You can talk about, okay, girlfriend, like, what's your current PV? How many new ambassadors do you have this week? Who are your dream teamers? Have you reached out? And this is something also to just keep you on track. If you're someone who doesn't know what to do, right? If you get analysis paralysis or you get overwhelm paralysis where you wake up motivated and you're like, all right, I'm gonna work my business today. And then you're in that like, holy crap, Ruby, senior Ruby mindset where you're like, I don't know what to do. I'm overwhelmed. This is a great sheet to do it. This is a great, look at it like as a checklist, okay? So she asked about, we're encouraging you guys to make your own. I posted on both Team Taylor and on my team page in the comments of this call where we announced it, if anybody wants to be in those groups to reply to each rank level, and then we'll encourage people to create the group. I don't mind creating the groups, but I'm going to step out of them because I don't want to be in them. We want you guys to run it yourself. Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is definitely for you guys. I think it's better that way because we've got rank makers and all of that kind of stuff. We want this to be a little bit more collaborative, for you guys. And if it's just 1 or 2 people, or if it's 10, that kind of thing. And what I love for you guys in particular with this sheet right here is that, you're in a unique task of kind of building leadership within your own self, but then you're going to be mentoring people and rising up leaders, within your own teams and everything like that too. And so it helps you with mentorship and helps kind of remind you that, hey, who did I mentor? Who have I talked to about leadership and had maybe some tough conversations with this week, because it's not all cheerleading and sunshine and roses. Sometimes you have to say, hey, if I saw something that was happening in your business that that could be a huge detriment for your growth, would you want me to tell you? And, and having those tough coaching conversations in a positive way. So all of that, definitely huge. Sorry, Amy.
No, I love it. Okay. And like Amanda and I, we got on the phone last Saturday just to like chit chat business stuff. So it's good to have those people that aren't your upline, aren't on your team. And especially if you're in the same place business-wise, because you guys may have awesome buddies and running partners that are going for maybe gold or senior gold. That's a different ball game than when you're going for Ruby, senior Ruby, right? And having those types of business conversations with people that are in that same spot. So these are the activity goals for Ruby, senior Ruby. Ideally, if you did all this stuff every day for the rest of the month, you would be moving your business forward, right? First one is, we got to post about Plexus every day. But I really want to encourage you guys to use stories. You're probably already doing it. I'm the one that's way behind the 8 ball because listen, I've not been using them. And in fact, it was Allie that pointed out last week. She was like, oh man, you're really using Facebook stories. And this is for Instagram or Facebook, either or both. But one thing I have noticed when I have been putting in my stories, guys, I am getting people sending me messages because, when they reply to a story, comes through as a private message, that never, ever, ever comment or like or react to any of the posts on my page. I'm talking moms of Adelaide's friends, people that go to her school, other people that I've met just through the community who they're not on Facebook. Right? People aren't scrolling Facebook for the most part. I don't even scroll Facebook just because I get on there to work my business, but it's crappy now, right? Like it's not fun to get on Facebook. That's why so many people are taking a break. But stories, they will scroll through because people can't put a big political rant in a story, right? So use your stories. You're going to be surprised at the different people that are reacting to them and watching them versus your post, okay? I also want to encourage you guys and encourage your team to either lead or add 10 people in the Wellness Lounge, to add them, tag them, and message them, but do three-way chats. I am calling out Heather and Allie because I've called them out on all of the calls today. They don't even know it. I got to Senior Gold on three-way chats because I was new, okay? And you want your new ambassadors to do that, okay? In fact, we're doing on my team, we're doing a posting challenge this week, and we are taking it a step further, and we are saying if somebody comments on your post, put them in a three-way chat right away with your sponsor. You guys want to encourage that with the people on your team when you're Ruby and Senior Ruby. However, the reason I'm calling out Allie and Heather is because you also use three-way chats even when you're not new. They both put me in a three-way chat with someone just because they needed my kind of thyroid or some different experience than their direct sponsor, right? Both of their people talked about things in those three-way chats to me, a complete stranger, and they didn't with either of them. I mean, Allie's person mentioned she had migraines and hasn't had one since she started Plexus. And Allie didn't even know about the migraines. So continue to use three-way chats as you're pushing for Ruby and Senior Ruby. So twofold, get your new people to do it because that's how they learn, but you guys can also still use them. And here's the cool thing. In Allie's chat, then I came back in and I've now asked that girl to share about her migraines on Facebook, right? She may not say anything, but Allie may have asked her to work the business till she's blue in the face and she says no, but I'm somebody different. I'm coming in and I'm asking if she will tag Allie in a post, right? So do those three-way chats. All of your new ambassadors, and I would go back to June and do like kind of a big campaign, for lack of a better word, with all your new June ambassadors, and make sure they got that referral message or something, okay? Because I bet 90% of them didn't, especially remember your whole team. So look at your new ambassador report from June. If they're under a sponsor that you know and you work with closely on your team, you know they're getting that message, that's great. Have them send you a screenshot to show, right? It's totally fine, guys, for you to be like, hey, we're all going to send this message. And they're like, okay, I sent it to 3 people. Okay, send me a screenshot so I can see it, right? That's the accountability of being a leader that can make you feel yucky at first, but that's the accountability that people want. But then also for the people who you know are under what I call dabblers, maybe they shared with their sister, but you know, they're not really working the business. That's okay. But then you treat them as your level 1, right? And yeah, that's the duplication that we're talking about, okay? So then go back and look at your June, and for all new July, like start now. Here's the great thing I love about the business. There are so many things I wish I had known then that I know now. Even like last week, I wish I'd have known some of these messages and some of this more prescriptive stuff to do. Doesn't mean I have to go back and redo everything, but I can start with my new people, right? I can start them with whatever I found now that I want to try. Also, have conversations with people on your team. Aim for 6 conversations a day. I like to do these things in the early morning before my kiddo wakes up. And so like the night before, if, you know, I ran the perks report early this morning, and I just sent messages real quick to the people who had people on the perks report that were expiring, okay? Do relationship building. I checked in with another adopted level 1, wanted to see how her kiddo's doing. I think she had a rough weekend, right? So make it a point for 6 conversations a day from people on your team, not necessarily just your level 1s. And then also 3 conversations a day with non-Plexus people about Plexus, okay? Do we have another slide, or is that it? Oh yeah, here we go. This is Sarah's.
I got on mute. Okay, so we wanted to give you guys some areas of focus just to kind of guide, and I know we've talked about a lot of this, but just maybe, you know, taking a screenshot of this in particular and, you know, me fix this whole thing. Sorry guys, my when it does the recording, if I have the little video screens hiding all the information, it's not super helpful. So being present on social media, obviously that's a visible pace. So duplication is things that people can see and copy and do. And so even pace can be a visible thing. Maybe you're doing a ton of things behind the scene, messaging, doing Zoom calls, all that kind of thing. I found myself getting bogged down in a lot of that, right? Like this whole morning, I haven't been in any of the chats because we've been on these Zoom calls. But then hopping in and making sure you're doing some visible stuff, sharing what you're doing, talking about it, maybe addressing, hey, I've been on Zoom calls all morning, but blah, 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 and here's my plan, okay? Saying all those things and just letting them know what is happening in your day. So if they don't see you all over the place on the team pages or something like that, they know what you're doing. And this isn't like a, like a nanny or babysitter kind of thing. It creatively sparks pace, and it creatively sparks ideas in what they should be doing during their day. So showing up to trainings so they see your face on there as well. Events, hosting, attending, being a commenter in the lounge on things, being in those group chats, the rank makers and those kinds of things. Definitely making sure that when you are, adding value to pages, it's multiple team pages, because you don't know which ones they're focused on. People gravitate to different leadership styles or different whatever, for some reason they might accidentally have notifications off on one page, and then they never see you posting on that one page, right? So just keeping that in mind, being just active, because you are a leader and that is a visible thing. And then of course posting in social and all that kind of stuff. I want to talk about emotional intelligence and what that means from a leadership perspective. So every single one of you guys has a large team at this point, and you're absolutely a leader. I mean, you were a leader when you signed your very first person. And so one of the biggest things that I want to, kind of address is making sure that you are putting appropriate discussions in group chats, appropriate, something is going wrong in your business. Should that be put in a group chat? Should that be put in a team page? Or should it be sent directly to customer service or directly to your sponsoring upline or Jewel or Diamond or what have you? Because that is one of the quickest ways to self-sabotage your business, and you won't even realize that you're doing it. And so just making sure that you're never venting down, and that's difficult. I struggle with that so much because the people that I signed up into this business are my friends. And so if you're having a bad day, I'm not saying don't fill your friends in on it, whatever, but change the wording a little bit to make it more solutions oriented as opposed to just anger, right? Because that is, positivity is much harder to catch than negativity. Negativity is so easy to let it affect you. And then of course in a group setting, when you have a whole bunch of sideline teams and that kind of stuff, I can guarantee you when you hop in there and start complaining about shipping issues and all those kinds of things, people are like, oh, I just added my newbie in here, and that's her very first thing she saw. So always think about it in terms of, if I personally added somebody to this chat just now who's brand new to Plexus, is what I'm about to post in here a good thing to be her first thing to see? So beyond that, your virtual office, making sure you're walking people through it, making them comfortable. So many people feel so lost, and they don't take it upon themselves to go find those things. Some people do, and I'm always like, yes, the self-starter. But the majority of people don't. And so just walking them through, making them feel comfortable, showing them that referral chat or referral link in the +3 script, hitting your perks reports every single day. So your virtual office is your window into your business and the way that you can seriously daily impact your business. And so why I am a person that tracks my daily points, and I have a point goal every single month, and at the end of the month, or throughout the month, I divide it by how many days are in the month, and that's my aim. And I recognize the fact that I'm gonna have more points at the end of the month than on certain days during the middle of the month. But for me, it's always a barometer. Am I tracking ahead, or am I tracking 500 points behind, right? So that is kind of the idea behind that. But then if I see I'm tracking behind, or if I see I'm tracking ahead, I don't let it send me on the roller coaster of emotions. What I do is I go take ownership and look in my virtual office and see what I can impact. Maybe I can hit, my list and try and sign a couple ambassadors that day. Maybe I hit my perks reports. Maybe I run through and see if there's been any credit card issues with any of my people, or if I can possibly, talk to somebody and have a results restart kind of chat with them about their products, look it through and see what they have been ordering, see if somebody turned off and have that conversation, all of those kinds of things. You have a window into your business that can really, really impact how you end at the end of the month. And hitting that on the 28th of the month, I have done that, and that sucks, to be brutally honest. It is a lot of catch up, but if you do it on an every single day, or even an every other day basis, to kind of just check yourself and see what you can impact yourself personally, it's going to add up big at the end of the month, and it's going to feel so empowering. So all of those things are huge. And then also using your virtual office to do shout outs. As many shout outs as you can. Obviously, key measure shout outs, when somebody signs a new ambassador, customer, something like that, is super easy to do. They have PV. But the more obscure shout outs, the ones that are showing up to trainings, the ones that are doing hard things that they've never done before, maybe they do a live for the first time, make a first post, are doing a whole lot of research, or I don't know, just anything, using your reports to say, what, I bet, and it doesn't always have to be visible. Sometimes the non-visible recognition, just you reaching out to them and saying, hey, Amanda, like, you're doing awesome. I see you in the chats. I see you doing all the things. Even that's even better, because they're like, oh, it wasn't in public. It just giving them a little bit of a, hey, I see you, just makes people, have a good day and all that kind of stuff. So Engage app, we've talked a lot about it, but you'll use it. It's huge. And I know that there are not a whole lot of third-party tools in there, but the plan is to make it far more robust, have a lot larger variety of samples that we can select from, have a lot larger variety of just videos and, that kind of thing. So it's going to become more robust, but right now, use it how you can. I love it for literally just keeping track of my prospects that have reached out. Anytime somebody's reaching out right now, I'm just putting their name in there, just so when I'm having a day where I'm like, I forget people reach out all the time because I'm so busy, and people fall through the cracks, and I don't want that to happen. Like, I want them to feel special. Hey, you reached out to me, a couple weeks ago. I'm just checking back in, blah, 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 whatever. But all of those things are huge, and that is a great tool for organization, and it's only going to get more advanced and more robust. And then, like I said, signing people up with 10% is super awesome. So just that alone is fabulous. So making sure your team's using that is huge as well. So what you talk about is going to, expand on your team too. So helping them see that there's value in that as well. And then from a duplication standpoint, at this level, duplication is huge, and even duplicating just leadership and raising your leadership lid, and of course activities and pace, but those types of things are huge. And so kind of I know for a fact I did not have any systems in place when I hit Ruby, and that's why I stalled, and I ended up not making a ton of systems, but just refining my processes and raising my leadership, and becoming a student of network marketing as well. All of those things helped me move past Ruby, because I recognized where I was lacking. You may not be lacking at all. You may be in full momentum and doing awesome. And so don't focus on that, right? Focus on how you can move your business forward and enhance it and make it better, right? So the Refer 3 system is highly duplicatable. ATM, using those things, the events, how you recognize people is actually duplicatable as well, how you onboard them, all of that stuff. And then mastering, inviting them to training calls, inviting them to events, inviting them to register for the triplex thing that we're about to have, which is going to be amazing, y'all. And then just being very prescriptive in their business. So, and what I wanted to bring something back up that Amy said that I really think that we all kind of need to just, recognize and marinate on a little bit, is that, simple tweaks in verbiage as we're talking to people are just go so far. If you can say, well, if you add 3, you're going to get $300, versus I'm showing you how to add 3. I'm giving you the steps and spoon feeding them to you. So all you have to do is copy, paste it, do it. And I'm also changing the verbiage to alleviate that immediate objection of, no, I'm not ready to share. I don't want to build a business. I don't want to do what you're doing. This is different, right? And so just helping them see, okay, well, I'm helping you do it step by step by step, instead of saying, do you want to add 3? And they're like, I don't know how. Like, how would I add 3? No, I don't know anybody, right? So those kinds of things. I'm going to stop the share, and I've seen a lot of chatter in the chat.
So I want to just say a couple things, and we're going to get off here because I think we've gone longer, but this has been so fun. And I really hope you guys are excited about it and you use it and you lean in. So a couple things I wanted to say while Sarah gets caught up in the chat. Y'all are going for Ruby, Senior Ruby. You got to learn how to make a shout out graphic. I'm sorry. Like, I love y'all, but you got to learn how to use WordSwag to give your people a cute little shout out. You don't have to make all the graphics for like a team event, right? But you got to learn how to use WordSwag. Now we're at the point where we're shouting some people out. And then also, we say this until we're blue in the face. Lean into the team page, but it's to raise your leadership lid. Like, I love it when people on my team want to go live, want to make a post, want to do a series, want to lead a team call, all the things, because one, that helps you. It is your platform for leadership without having to have your own team page, right? So when your people, from your brand new ambassadors to your seasoned ambassadors, see you doing something on those team pages, that just raises your leadership level with them and your influence. So to me, that is an easy way to help grow your leadership, is by leaning in when they see you being visible on those team pages. And don't ever think, or do not wait for Sarah or I or Amanda or whoever's team page you're on to ask you to do something, right? Like, I'll do it often. Like, I asked Caitlin, hey, will you be on Coffee Talk with me live? Like, will you do that? But don't wait. Like, please say, hey, I want to do a live. I want to do a training on this. I love this. Can I do that? Yes. Like, I know we would all love that. So think of ways you can raise your leadership and be visible on those bigger team pages. And then when it comes to organization and falling through the cracks, Sarah and I are polar opposites. So you guys might, because Caitlin and Heather both said that, their weakness is people falling through the cracks or organization. You have to find what works for you. And maybe when you guys are in this chat all together, you can find different ideas, because I mean, my books are color coded back here, guys. I love paper and lists and charts and planners. And Sarah used to tease me relentlessly because she is super organized, but not like that. Right? You walk in, you used to walk into her office and I'm like, where's your planner? Where's your checklist? How do you do this business? She did everything from her phone and her notes. And now she's keeping track of people in the app. That's what works for her. Right? So definitely you have to find what works for you that'll keep you motivated. Some people think buying a pretty planner will help people from falling through the cracks and keep you organized, but you're just not a planner person. It's not going to work for you.
Yeah, the only thing I use, so my planner, I just got this from Target, y'all, and I'm literally not a planner person. So this was like, I don't know, $10 or something like that at Target. But what I use it for is any kind of Zooms that are coming up on that week or whatever, but I use it for my point tracking so that I can look. I did it this morning. I looked and said, wonder where I am compared to last month this time. Went and checked and I was like, oh, yes, 200 points up. Like, those kinds of things. And so I can just kind of use it as a barometer, but I always have that window into my business. So that's one. The other thing, at the top of it says this week's top 3. At the top of each week. And so you can use that however you want, those types of things, but it's just little reminders of okay, when I'm sitting down to work, I know I'm not taking that thing out of this room. Like it's not going in my purse with me everywhere I go or anything like that. My phone is. That's what I use for most of my appointments, all that kind of stuff. But when I'm planning out a team calendar for the month, I want to see the whole big thing and I want to look at it all. But those are the types of things that kind of just help me when I sit down to physically do my work. And that's why I made that the July 2020, the June 2020 activity trackers, is so that it mimics just that. Like you don't have to print that out, but at least you can, at the top of the page, have your daily activities. And if you sit down and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where to start, I'm getting sucked into political conversations on Facebook. And instead of doing that, you can run through your checklist of perks, whatever that is for you. So that has worked for me. But I think that's about all that we have, you guys. I am really excited about the amount of you guys that are seeing so much growth, so much personal growth as well, not just numbers growth or anything like that. And you guys are casting vision like crazy to your teams. And we're seeing you guys have silver and gold and senior gold rank ups, Ruby rank ups as well. And you guys, that is just huge. And some of you that have been around for so long are seeing your team re-rank and seeing hope birth and just excitement and all of that kind of stuff. And I know by the end of this year, we're going to have a bunch of new jewels on this team that are coming from this group. And y'all, it is exciting. I just want to encourage you guys to not allow everything that's happening in the world to seep in and become a roadblock for you or anything like that, because everybody's dealing with some crazy stuff. But because of that crazy stuff, we also have a lot of opportunity to positively impact people, keep the conversations positive, even when you're posting about COVID and all those kinds of things. Make sure it's always positive. And then just all that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, that's all I have to say.
All right, thank you guys for jumping on. It looks like Amber maybe is taking the lead on putting all of you guys in a group. I would keep all the going for Ruby, Senior Ruby together. And thanks for being on, guys. Bye.
Bye.